A scratchy, half-garbled wiretap hissed through laptop speakers for barely 3 seconds before the screen snapped to black. Yet that micro moment detonated like a cinematic jump scare. Viewers rewound, freeze-framed, and zoomed in until one frame revealed a glint inside Wack 100's wallet. Round, metallic, unmistakably badge-shaped. Within minutes, bloggers theorized 21 Savage had planted the clip like digital C4, timing the blast for peak traffic. 90 minutes later, #WiredWack surged into X's, formerly Twitter's, top trends, reaction channels stitched frame-by-frame breakdowns, and even casual fans were forced to confront the uncomfortable twist. What happens when hip-hop's loudest snitch hunter suddenly looks like the snitch? Spend a single evening scrolling old Clubhouse replays and you'll hear Wack 100 fling the word rat, the way DJs toss air horns, loud, frequent, and always on cue. No target is safe or too random. Gunna, BG, Brick Baby, 21 Savage, J Diggs, sometimes 3 names in one breath. In late 2024, he even boasted about owning a 2-hour interrogation video in which he insisted Gunna sang like a canary. His ultimatum, he'd leak the footage unless Gunna publicly confessed. Gunna's lawyer dismissed it as a digital fairy tale, but TikTok pushed the threat to millions of feeds, gifting Wack another news cycle and a fresh stack of engagement metrics. hotandwhiphop.com. Here's a sleight of hand. Every time Wack spotlights another rapper's alleged paperwork, that glare conveniently blinds fans to a storm cloud that's trailed him since a Texas highway stop 2 decades ago. Accuse, distract, repeat. That's the metronome he's drummed for years, and the crowd kept clapping without asking who set the tempo. The feud began as low-grade trolling, Wack hinting that 21 Savage's 2019 immigration scare proved he'd cut hush-hush deals with ICE. For years, the Atlanta Star answered with little more than a shrug. But when the badge flash clip surfaced, watermarked, insiders claim, by 21's own engineers, silence evolved into surgical backlash. Audio forensics nerds froze the spectrogram and swore they heard Wack chatting almost cordially with investigator Johnson about upcoming court dates. No diss track, no tweet storm, just raw evidence tossed in the shark tank, leaving Wack to explain away the blood in the water. Music law observers frame it as chess grandmaster timing. 21 saved the clip until its sting peaked, nudged a single pawn, and checked the whole board. Fast forward to 3 p.m., March 19th, 2025. Eugene Big U Henley, Rollin 60's elder, community peacemaker, and occasional Wackfoil, goes live on Instagram from an SUV inching along LA's I-10. Voice trembles but stays defiant as he tells 11,000 viewers he's en route to surrender on a fresh RICO indictment. Halfway through, he swivels the camera and drops a haymaker. Wack working with the FBI, facts. Hours earlier, screen grabs show Wack DMing Big U's wife, 911, he needs to leave. AD internet detectives connect dots faster than prosecutors. How did Wack know a sealed indictment was imminent? Wack counters on IG Live, brandishing a grainy BlackBerry image he says proves Big U is the true informant. Tech bloggers zoom into the metadata, spot mismatched XIF stamps, and declare it a sloppy fake. The uproar, though, gives Wack what he values most: chaos, confusion, and a new headline that's not about his own badge flash. Picture a Texas highway in June 2005. State troopers stop Wack 100 and his brother for speeding, run the plates, and bring in a detection dog. Moments later, officers discover several prohibited items in the trunk, items a twice-convicted felon is absolutely barred from possessing. Under federal law, that kind of haul usually means a serious charge and a lengthy stay behind bars. Yet by sunrise, Wack is already out on bail and catching a flight back to Los Angeles. Then the entire file goes quiet. 2 years roll by with no hearings, no motions, no public updates until July 9th, 2007, when court records show a single cryptic entry. Case dismissed. Interest of justice. Legal scholars note that phrase often signals the defendant provided significant assistance to investigators. Bloggers who later obtained the minute order through FOIA requests still marvel at the blank spaces. No explanation, no trial dates, just silence where a prosecution should have unfolded. Search Amarillo court databases for similar felon in possession busts, and you'll find average sentences hovering around 7 years. Wack served 0 days. Early 2000s hip-hop forums whispered theories, but sealed dockets left little to screenshot. Everything changed this spring when YouTube sleuths matched Wack's dismissal wording to leaked federal training slides, showing agents exactly where to stamp interest of justice after a productive informant debrief. The images spread like wildfire, disbelief turned to deja vu. Archivists then pointed out that within 2 years of Wack's legal miracle, Suga Knight's death row empire collapsed under a gang injunction, naming almost every lieutenant except Wack. Coincidence or negotiated payoff? If music management is Wack's day job, covert recording feels like the night shift. Case in point, Loose Cannon 600, the rising LA rapper who entered a Wack-hosted clubhouse room and bragged, recklessly, about past robberies. Days later, the raw audio flooded YouTube. Weeks after that, Cannon faced a RICO indictment quoting his own words, verbatim. Legal TikTok dubbed it self-snitching, yet skeptics wondered aloud, who pressed record and who forwarded the file? The cycle repeats. Whenever scrutiny edges toward Wack, a fresh leak stars somebody else. He teased that mythical 2-hour Gunna video during peak YSL coverage, hinted at unreleased Nipsey Hussle CCTV when critics probed his business ties. Hard evidence rarely surfaces, but each tease resets the outrage clock, giving Wack another 48-hour buffer and creators another outrage-fueled gold rush. Red string the timeline and watch patterns snap into focus. 2005 Texas weapons case, mysteriously dismissed. 2007-10 death row associates dragged to court, Wack unscathed. 2024 rumors surfaced that federal eyes shadow Big U's nonprofit ventures. March 2025. Big U indicted, Wack appears to predict the move. July 2025. Badge flash goes viral, 21 Savage drops the Wiretap teaser. Wikipedia's latest edit mentions Wack's name 6 times inside Big U's complaint, yet he live streams sushi dinners without a care. Skeptics insist that many coincidences form a straight line. Defenders counter that Wack is merely plugged in everywhere. Either way, the badge flash sluice gate is wide open, turning years of whispered barbershop suspicion into public record. So where does truth land? Perhaps Wack 100 is hip-hop's luckiest defendant, dodging legal bullets through cosmic timing. Maybe he signed a quiet cooperation memo in 2005 and never looked back. Or maybe he's mastered outrage economics, keeping us chasing ghosts while he cashes checks. Until sealed files crack open, or a live courtroom mic captures the full story, we're trapped in that electric gray zone where rumor collides with revelation. One thing's certain, every time Wack hollers snitch, a few more fans swivel to inspect the messenger before the accused. Drop your theory below, smash that like button if you live for deep dive receipts, and subscribe so you don't miss part 2. Because if hip-hop's loudest watchdog really has been wired all along, the next leak won't just shake the culture, it might rewrite the rulebook.